Chris Meloni, Happy is a crazy show. How close was the script for the pilot episode to what actually appeared on screen?
Real close. It was pretty fully conceived, by Brian Taylor and Grant Morrison, based off of Grant's graphic novel. All it took was everyone kind of meshing together, gelling, kind of figuring out rhythms, and I guess maybe tonally what we wanted to present. But everything just kind of fell pretty much effortlessly in place.
And how would you describe the tone of the show?
I always thought of it as what it is, which is a graphic novel ripped off the pages and presented on film. So attendant to that, I guess it's there are not too many rules. You can get as fantastical as you want. You can get as graphic as you want, as much as the platform of your TV station will allow. And the humor can be really out there and hopefully kind of edgy.
So have you read all the issues of the graphic novel?
Say it to me again.
Sorry, have you read the issues of the graphic novel for the show?
Sure.
Yeah. And what would you say is the biggest change from you versus Nick Sax on the page?
Well, the graphic novel are four relatively slim volumes, and that's it. And it takes Nick Sax going from being this drunk, disgraced detective who's now makes his money as a hitman, into him getting his getting resolution. How much do you want? Should I tell? Should I
say it all? Yeah,
say it all. To finding his daughter. But so there wasn't enough material for an 8-episode season. So we created characters, we filled in a lot of intermediary type stuff. But the difference between Nick and I think I brought a little more comedy to him. I think the physical humor is there. Yeah, that's about it. He became a little more fleshed out, and I think I found more humor in him than was in the graphic novel.
Okay. And what do you do to prepare for a role like this? What kind of research do you do? I'm guessing that you're not out, killing people or even talking to people who have killed people. So,
well, don't make those assumptions. But, let's see, what did I do? Not much, because, I've inhabited a variety of worlds that kind of touched on this. I've played killers, I've played detectives. I did Sin City 2, so I kind of had that graphic novel-y sensibility to the project that we were filming. I just, I think most of my preparation came from writing a little bit, meaning helping with the script, meaning making the words come out as I was channeling Nick Sax as I saw him. Brian Taylor, who's directing and leading the charge, was gracious enough to be collaborative in that endeavor. So that was about it. I got a lot of ownership out of it through writing stuff, ad-libbing stuff, that sort of thing. That helped me, kind of helped, I think, everyone find Nick Sax and how he operated in the world.
You have any good ad-libbing stories?
Just that whatever you saw there, and I'll say, I think I remember so clearly the pilot, because it was all new. I was coming in, I would come in and have reams of notes, and I had whole monologues that I had written. And, Brian would be like, all right, give it a try. And, so I would say like 80% of what I did is not on film. And, because I gave him a lot of options, and he was very pleased with that. And there was no, ego or ownership or anything like that. We were just there to experiment. But there was so much ad libbing with me and Smoothie, uh, played by Patrick Fischler. Um, because I was busting his chops. I was busting his character's chops the whole time. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So Happy came out on Sci-Fi back in December, and since then, Barry has come out on HBO. Killing Eve has come out on Killing America, or sorry, Killing Eve has been on BBC America. So we have all these shows about hitmen this season. So why do you think Hollywood has latched on this year to the assassin?
That's a great question.
It seems
I
like we always
think
have like the same stuff coming out at the same time. Like we have, all the money in the world, and now we have Donald Sutherland playing the same role on FX, and I don't know, just kind of stuff like that.
I don't know. Do you think America's possibly looking for some cathartic release from what we're going through? Could be.
Could be.
The suppressed id.
Okay. I was on the set of Godzilla a few years ago, and they used a tennis ball to represent like Godzilla to for the eye line. So, are you guys using anything on Happy for the character of Happy?
Well, because he gets sketched up in Scotland, so we run a little bit of extra film, and there's a guy sitting there with a little stuffed unicorn and a little plastic doll, and he does all that so that they get all aspects of lighting upon these things, and then they get two little balls. One is just a plain, like a volleyball, and another is a reflective crystal orb when they do that. But no, for me, acting against, it's actually, I just say, what are the rules? Where are we saying, Happy, I'm going to start my conversation here, and then Happy's going to go over there, right? And then he'll be behind me. Is that what we're saying? And we figure out what the beats are, and that's it. And then I just rolled over my head. I like it that way.
So this is the first show that you've produced, and you also directed on Underground last year. So what can you tell me about these new experiences, as you've been coming along in your career?
Yeah, and even better, I'm in the writer's room.
There you
I
go.
was a little bit last year. I'm far more so this year. It's all about really just understanding how other people attack this art form, understand this art form, what their skill sets are, where my skill sets lack, where I need to educate myself about what it takes and the steps you take to put this thing, to create this thing, and have this final product. And it's been illuminating for me because as an actor, you're strolling around, they hand you a script. It's basically fully baked. There might be some tweaks to it, but that's it. And then you do your job. But it's a rather daunting task to be in the room with three blank, eraser boards there. It's just time to pitch some ideas. That's been, really educational. And then directing, I'll be directing episode 2 for this season. And, that's great. That's a whole new skill set of talking with actors and talking with crew members and getting your vision, being able to translate your vision to all these disparate peoples and personalities. So, it's really exciting. It keeps the brain fresh.
What's the timeline of the new season? I feel like I basically know that it was renewed back in January, and I'm not sure beyond that.
And what are you asking then?
Oh, sorry. Like when do you guys start shooting, and do you know when it airs? And
Yeah, we'll be shooting August. And this last year, the series took place in the time frame of Christmas. And this year, it's the time frame of Easter. So that's when it'll be airing.
Okay, and what more can you tell us about like where the show goes from where it left off at the end of the first season, having covered all the issues of the graphic novel?
Well, just where we left off. We left off with an injured Smoothie, the torturer, the professional number one torturer of the mob boss, Mr. Blue. Mr. Blue is in prison, having been infected by this thing that we're going to fill out and understand more clearly and deeply. You have Sonny Shine, who orchestrated this whole child kidnapping, sex ring thing. And you're going to learn a little bit of what his, end game is all about. And then, I think you have my ex-wife and my daughter, and I think they've been very badly affected by what they went through in season one. And then you have me and Lily Moroznik, who plays Mary, and Happy, of course. So we're going to have to figure out, how people continue on with all new adventures to come.
I kind of hope that people are watching this interview if they haven't seen the show, because just hearing you say all those plot points is just
good or bad.
It's good. It just sounds, so out there, out of context.
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like whenever I see, Christopher Meloni cast in, whatever project, especially since you've left SVU, I kind of expect it to be something like really fun. Would you say that that's a conscious decision that you've been making in recent years toward what roles you take?
What makes them fun?
I don't know. I just feel like I see that you're on, the show Happy that's about, this crazy hitman, or you're on Veep as, the personal trainer, or Wet Hot American Summer, or Snatch. I feel like it's, I associate you a lot more with comedy these days.
Okay. So you're talking comedy. Well, number one, I like the word fun, and because it makes me feel good, because, all of the choices I make now, because they truly make me curious, as opposed to my choices before. Curiosity is great, and stretching muscles is great, but I also had to worry about paying bills and future. I had financial obligations. So once those things get a little kind of figured out or settled, it's what I do is, for me, it's what I want. I mean, life is short. So and so is it a conscious decision? I don't know. It's a gut decision, so I don't know if that's conscious or not. I just, something fires for me. I'm like, oh yeah, that'll make me happy. That'll make me feel good.
So this past season, you appeared on Happy, and for the Emmy ballot, you'll be in comedy lead actor for that role. And I think you'll also be on the Emmy ballot a second time for Wet Hot American Summer in comedy supporting actor. So can you tell me? Well, I don't know. You were on the ballot for the first season, so
Yeah.
We'll see about this year. But what can you tell me that's unique about that set?
The Wet Hot?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's easy. For me, Wet Hot is, it's like going home. It's like, there's just so much history there. I was just starting SVU, kind of starting on that trajectory. And all of a sudden these nuts from NYU are kind of cobbling together their shekels to, do this crazy camp movie that was so crazy. And, it turned, against all odds, and it became this cult hit. So anytime I'm asked to play with these guys, the answer is just yes. I don't need to read the material. Just send me the material. The answer is yes. So, it's always very secure and safe, and comfortable.
Okay, and finally, I wanted to ask about your role on Veep a couple years ago. First of all, did you know that you were nominated for a Gold Derby Award for Comedy Guest Actor for Veep?
I did not.
Yes, users at our site are fond of that performance. Are there any plans for you to be on the final season?
Not that I know of. They did ask to have me on. I was unavailable, so a few tears were shed. But yeah, I'm a huge to a person. I'm a huge fan from Iannucci, even though I guess he's moved on. But Julia Louise, all of them. I love each and every person on the show. So if they were to call, yeah.
All right, well, thanks very much, Chris. We look forward to the next season of Happy.
Thank you, brother.